Welcome everyone, make yourself a brew, sit down, relax, as we're here with a new show. Today, the new show in question is Pommy's Paper Talk, and what we aim to do today is take you through the most important stories of the AFL in the week, and have a bit of a look at them, try and be a bit light-hearted, and really just fill you in so you don't have to go through the plethora of articles that are in the AFL world. It's week one, it's our first show, so let's run the intro and get straight into it. So the AFL announced a couple of years back that Tasmania would be joining the AFL, and that went down a little bit like Vegemite. You either love the idea or you hate it. Initial talks have really gone really well. They've had a good membership recruitment. Everyone seems up and about. But the big issue being recently the stadium. The proposed Maguire Port Stadium has met a lot of criticism. We Senator Jackie Lambie criticising the project with it being an estimated $1 billion to complete from the original estimates of $750 million. This is no surprise. When the federal government work with the state government and you combine that with the AFL, you are obviously going to get an absolute calamity. It is the sporting equivalent of getting wolves to watch sheep and wondering why you've got a shed load of pillow stuffing in the morning. It's never going to end well. And this has really brought some drawbacks. Obviously, Tasmanian residents are a little bit upset. That's a lot of moolah to be going on just a sports stadium. It also begs the question when the former Senator Peter Goodwin said it's definitely going to be delayed, which then asked the question when the AFL have been so adamant that no stadium, no team, what are they going to do when the team come in? It is only 3 years away until Tasmania join the AFL, and even as of yet, we have no bona fide plan of what their first year looks like, their draft concessions, their trade concessions. All the teams have got to plan this, and we all know very well how the AFL works. You know right now that the day before the season starts, the AFL are going to drop some kind of gambit that Tasmanian Football Club will play interstate all their games. It'll be like a world tour for Tasmania. The stadium will be fixed just after the bye, and this was all part of the plan. And we'll just act like it's normal. It's a little bit like going to see NSYNC without Justin Timberlake. It doesn't make sense. So this is going to be a really interesting one to observe here, because it is a state-of-the-art stadium, and obviously a lot of planning has gone into it. But at this stage, it does seem a little bit wishy-washy, and I would love to see a little bit more clear and concise communication from both the AFL but also Tasmania. It is turning into a right bubble and squeak at the minute, isn't it? And the politicians are weighing in, people backing the plans, other people saying that it's a complete hog's wash. So where does this leave us? Well, the AFL has stood firm, and it has always been adamant that this will happen in 2028. And I think it's about trying to find that balance, isn't it? Find that compromise. For me as a fan, what I want to see is some clear, concise messaging around what it looks like, how that stadium is going to go, and will it be an active plan? Because we've had too many clubs come into the AFL that were really set up not to succeed. What do you guys and girls think in the chat? Let us know about this one. It is a real fascinating one. I think this drama of the stadium, but more so the whole franchise and how that looks in the AFL landscape. Let me know your thoughts. How would you integrate them? And let's have a discussion about it. Up next, Adam Uze's big 7-year recruitment. The 2032 contracted Noah Bolton maybe took the Richmond faithful's wishes of knuckling down and showing a bit of a fight too far, as he will be due in court on the 30th for charges with assault. He's found himself in hot water and handed himself into the police. He is back in Melbourne now and training, and Richmond have acted swiftly and given him a 4-game ban. Now, obviously, we don't know the ins and outs of the details because this is an active court case ensuing, but we can safely assume that this is a little bit more of a scrap than the recent Netflix special of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. We do love a little bit of aggression, don't we? And we do want to see that, and we always talk about it, but it has to stay on the field. And this is a real bad slap in the face for the AFL, as the off-season has kind of been littered with player indiscretions. Richmond fans are probably saying this is not the way we want to start the year, and they're right. The first 4 games are so important for a team's campaign, and this is a major out for Richmond, but also a major implication dependent on what the outcome of the court case is towards it. They're going to have to dig deep, the Tigers, and they're going to have to reshuffle that lineup and really look to improvise in a team that doesn't really have a plethora of senior recruitment. It's a real tough year for Adam Uze's Tigers, and it's only going to get harder with Balta being out. There is no doubt that this kid has got bags of talent. He is going to go through the AFL programme of education, so we do wish him the best, and we hope he comes out of this stronger. And hopefully it's not too big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Let's be real. Everyone has these moments, particularly when we can assume alcohol was involved. But in football and in 2025, there's no real place for this. But we're backing Balta to come back stronger, not just for his team, but for himself, and turning this setback into a real big comeback. The incident does shine light, though, on the AFL and these off-field indiscretions. And hopefully the AFL again look to reenact not a cover-up, but more of an ownership and accountability. So the players are ultimately safe off-season. They have got to let their hair down. And obviously there is certain ways to do that. So what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon a 4-game ban's fair? Do you reckon Balta's going to bounce back? Do you reckon that has a big implication on their start of the season? Tigers fans, I'd love to know your opinion. But as always, we wish everyone well involved in this. Up next, 2025 is an absolute huge year for AFL media, and we're looking about the shake-up of the AFL broadcasting deals in 2025 and also a huge retirement. The AFL is looking at a big makeover. It's going full RuPaul on us, and they are glamming it up. New networks, new faces, and hopefully no more bad takes, but you would imagine it's going to get a little bit bigger. The league has had some big moves. There's some new faces, some old faces returning, and hopefully we're going to see better coverage, more in-depth analysis, and maybe just a little bit less ad breaks. That would be grouse, wouldn't it?
You're joking. Not another one?
Now, whether you're watching from at home, whether you're watching through socials, the need for content has never been greater, as this generation is used to having it at a fingertip. And one of the big sad things for some of the old guys, or maybe a good thing for some of the old guys and girls, is everyone's favourite love-to-hate journalist, Mark Robinson, affectionately known as Robbo, is calling it a day. After years of giving us some witty one-liners, some banter sound bites, but also breaking some huge stories along the way, he's finally putting down the mic. And let's be honest, love him or hate him, Robbo is one of like the modern day journalists in the terms of creating them sound bites and also showing a bit of personality. And it's going to be interesting how they replace him long term. I do feel like, me personally, the AFL media has sometimes been devoid of a little bit of personality. I know we've moved on from them days from the footy show and things like that, but it is sad, and I think you can all join me in his no-nonsense style, his witticisms, but his passion for the game and his love of the game. He was always like talking to, when you watched him, it felt like you were talking to that guy who's in a pub 2 p.m. on a Wednesday at the TAB, who tells you that if it wasn't for his dicky leg, he could have been Gary Ablett Sr. It always felt kind of, even if he annoyed you, it felt quite personable. And the news really probably has hit the AFL world harder than a tackle for some fans. I mean, the Twitter's been buzzing, socials are buzzing. It's either positive or it's negative for his rants and his debates. But ultimately, it is, I think, quite a big loss of it. It's going to be interesting how the new blood come in. It's definitely time now, when we look at the world of sport, particularly the UK and the States, of how they're going a modern direction when it comes to their media content, particularly people in the social scene, in the YouTube scene, have started to be fed in. It's going to be interesting how they negate that landscape, because we all are looking for it at a touch of the button, hopefully with a little bit of a pommy twist, which is always good. But Robbo, as he was affectionately known, always brought that debate, didn't he? And always got us talking. And that really is the beauty of football. Whether we agree or disagree, the greatest part of it is battling your corner and chiming in. So, Robbo, we wish you well here from Pommy and Oz. And hopefully the guys and girls who replace you ultimately in the future leave a similar lasting legacy as you did. So what's next for the AFL? With Robbo stepping away, it obviously opens the door for brand new voices to step in. What do you guys and girls think of the broadcast changes? Are you excited? Are you ominous? I do feel like some of them are very samey and it feels like a competition, but it should be exciting. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's always good to chat. Up next, Luke Sayers, Carlton Football Club's president, has been caught up in what can only be described as a Twitter or X.com storm, where Carlton fans like myself were subjected to scrolling and seeing the old Franks and Beans.
Franks and Beans! Franks and Beans!
Yeah, that's right. We had a leaked Willie pick, it has to be said. Now, the club, well, Luke Sayers himself and the media have been quick to report that he was hacked, and he himself, 9 minutes 52 seconds after said pick, did come out and say he was hacked and ultimately deactivated his account. Now, he did use the most classic middle-aged person's debate when they are caught doing something on the internet and said he was hacked.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
Now, I'm not one to speculate. It could be true, and we can only take someone's word at their face value. He did tag a Booper executive in this, and that has really set the social media world alive. He has come out and doubled down and said that he's going to leave no stone unturned to find out who did this.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
A credit has to be said to X.com's leader, Elon Musk, because I have never heard of a hacked account being returned in 9 minutes. So maybe 2025 could be the year that we stop these hackers. It has to be said that if he has been hacked, though, with the ability to do some background research and find an obscure Booper executive to tag with a pic of something that kind of represents Carlton's last 10 years, really quite limp at times, picture. If he wants to hack my bank account and slide 2 million into there, that hacker, that would be grouse, because that is very well done for 5 minutes work, it has to be said. But ultimately, we joke about it. We do send our best wishes to all people involved. At first, I would have thought being involved with the football club, the most embarrassing moment being a Carlton representative would be the fact that you were on the board when GWS beat us with only 16 men. But it's always good to see a new way to be embarrassed. I have to say, though, are we still in the generation where we do send Willie pics? I don't think anyone, male, female, or in between, has ever looked at a Willie and gone, wow, who's that guy? I know I certainly haven't. And I've seen a fair few of them being a footballer back in the day in the UK in communal showers before they didn't become a thing. So it's going to be a fascinating one to look at in the long term. It is nice, though, I've got to say, as a Carlton fan, in January to see a news article about Carlton that doesn't involve the I-word injury or an off-field discretion or something like that from a player. So it's good that the player group are always there. Social media has erupted, as always. It is going to be a real fascinating wait and see this one as we do look to reveal the culprit. It could be something quite as simple as well as just going down to Kmart and buying one of them cheap mirrors, and you can find the culprit there. But all will be revealed in due course. But poor old Luke, probably not the way you want to start the new year, is it? People in the chat, what do you think? Do you think that this is something that is going to affect Carlton long term? Obviously, this is a PR disaster for them, and they are going to be working overtime to fix it. Is this a sign for Luke Sayers to step down? Is this something that, if it is just an innocent mistake, we just carry on? Let me know what you think, but I do feel like this is probably the worst type of distraction to have at the start of the season. Let me know, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about it. Up next, we have this fascinating snippet here from SEN's breakfast show, Sam and Cam, who discussed the new AFL rules and little bits of changes for the 2025 season. Let's go and have a quick listen.
There were a couple of tweaks communicated to clubs in terms of next footy season, small ones. Non-controlling umpire to call advantage at centre bounces and a move to bounce the ball rather than throw it up, after the 666 warnings.
Yes.
So a move to rebounce instead of the throw up.
Now, I thought that was real fascinating about the 666 rule and also the thoughts on bounce versus throwing the ball up. And I did really enjoy Sam Edmonds' comment here about why he speculates sometimes these infringements do occur.
I'd love to know, what percentage of the 666 breaches are just honest mistakes late in games as fatigue sets in, or genuine tactical
No, I think they're
ploys.
just mistakes now.
Are they? Because some rucks are far, far better at a throw-up than they are a bounce. And I reckon that's why they're discussing how the game's
you've gone
restarted.
that tactic.
No, I think it's absolutely the case.
Because that would make sense, because, you know, when you throw the ball up, obviously it's going to be very true as opposed to a bounce. And I did like Cam Moody's take there on the whole interpretation. It does feel like we do treat AFL footballers at times like toddlers. We use the phrase education and adaptability and learning, and do forget at times they are fully working adults. And it does seem fascinating for me that we still have warnings when this is quite a simple rule, isn't it, really? To follow the rule, 666, it's basic maths. It's one more than you can count on one hand, which should make it a bit easier. I really do agree with Cam Moody here. I do think it's about time that the AFL just scrap the warning, start giving 50 free kicks, and suddenly watch it change. Because whether I had to disagree with like Edmund there on the fatigue output and things like that, you're always going to be tired. That's the nature of an endurance type sport. So for me, I think that it should be a straight swap. And I did like Cam Moody's argument about we should only have the bounce at the start of the quarter. I am well and truly behind that. It seems ridiculous to me that we have the bounce any other time than that. I think it's a ceremonial thing, and then I think we should just throw it up. It's a lot quicker, it's a lot truer, and it's a lot fairer, and it takes away some of the horrendous bounces that we do see that never really are true, and it's such a complex game. The ball bounces around with it being egg-shaped like a bouncy ball on top of the glaciers, doesn't it, at times? So it does really need to be addressed. So for me, I am all for us just going for a throw after the opening bounce and just start every quarter with a bounce. And the 6-6 rule, let's just have it as an instant 50-metre penalty. I think it will sort it out. What do you guys and girls think in the chat? Do you think that we should still keep this like little temperament? I would go a step further, you know, as well. And I think we should remove the nomination rule. I find that the most annoying thing that I can tell you who rooks for every team just by eye. I'm looking for the guy that opens the door for the Adams family. It's a tall unit. Let's get rid of the asking. I don't think any other ruckman's going to be surprised when Brodie Grundy takes a tap. Let's try and speed the game up. And I think these are the kind of rules that, as fans, we want changed because it helps us watch the game in a little bit more of a free-flowing manner, as opposed to getting all complex like the AFL do, as if they're trying to complete a Sudoku upside down in space. Let me know what you think. We'll have a discussion about it. We finish with my old mate, Matty Owies, who this has been sent to me by the world of Twitter. Matt Owies had this to say about Carlton fans.
Can you please say hi to my friend Isla? She loves Carlton.
Well, there's a reason, you know. Matt Owies is probably the AFL equivalent of Bob Geldof. Literally spends his entire career dining out on having one trick and then telling everyone how good he is. This is a fascinating one to bite the hand that used to feed you. And you know what? Jokes apart, I know I teased Matty Owies, and I know I said last season if he's your best small forward, you ain't a top 8 side. He's kind of proved me right by going to West Coast, no offence, because they won't be top 8 for a good few years now. But I don't mind this, you know. Genuinely, I love to hate opposition players, and I like a little bit of personality. So jokes apart, I don't mind it. Good little bit of banter. It was a little bit of fun. I took it in the right spirit. It does annoy me a bit, and that's good because I want to get around my team. And I find it hard sometimes supporting a team when you play a side and you like someone. You know, there's so many players out there that I really do like Brodie Grundy. I'm a huge fan of Scott Pendlebury, Nick Dykos. It does make it really hard to hate them when you do have a little bit of a soft spot for them. So, you know what? I do love it. It adds to the entertainment factor, and hopefully that motivates the Carlton boys when they play West Coast to really target him. And hopefully we can go a game next season without going 4 points. I mean, having 6 pointers going against us from small forwards. That would be nice. Well, that is the first show of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun writing the script for this and editing it up. So let me know what you guys and girls think. And if you have any articles or anything, please send them in on the socials. The socials are at the bottom of your screen now. You can contact me anywhere there. And let's have a chat. I love chatting the footy. So peace, love and light. Pommy out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it